Did you know that God chose to pour out his Holy Spirit on a Jewish holiday? Let's talk about it. Shalom and welcome to this episode of Did You Know? This is Rabbi Ira from Shalom Boca Messianic Congregation here in Boca Raton, Florida. And today I'm going to be talking about the holiday of Pentecost as Christians know it. But in the Hebrew, as Jewish people might know it, it's called Shavuot, which means Feast of Weeks. So before we jump into Acts chapter 2, which is where Pentecost comes from, for Christians would be familiar with that, we're going to go back to Leviticus chapter 23. And throughout this episode and the next one, we're going to talk about the connection between the Jewish holiday of Shavuot, Feast of Weeks, and the Christian holiday known as Pentecost. So we're going to start with Leviticus chapter 23 in verse 9, where it says, Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you have come into the land which I give to you and reap its harvest, then you are to bring the omer of the first fruits of your harvest to the Kohen, to the priest. He is to wave the omer before Adonai to be accepted for you. So let me stop there for a moment. Omer is a very important word which we are going to come back to. But literally, omer is a measurement of flour. It's a measurement of the grain that they were to bring into the tabernacle. And the priest is to wave the omer before the Lord, before Adonai, to be accepted for you. And this is to take place on the morrow after the Shabbat. The Kohen is to wave it. Okay, so in the context here, it's right after the day after Passover, actually. This is the context. Leviticus 23 is all about the Moadim, the 7 appointed times that God commanded Israel to set aside, what we call feast days or holidays, to commemorate certain events through Israel's history. So this is to take place, this offering of the omer, the measurement of grain, on the day after Passover. It says the Shabbat could be the Sabbath, 7th day of the week, or it could be just the Shabbat, the Sabbath of Passover. In any case, it goes on from there. Then the grain offering, it shall be 2/10 of an ephah, and so on. And then dropping down to verse 15, it says, then you are to count from the morrow after the Shabbat, so the day after the Passover, from the day that you brought the omer of the wave offering, 7 complete Shabbatot. Until the morrow after the 7th Shabbat, you are to count 50 days and then present a new grain offering to Adonai. So depending on how it's interpreted, it's either the Sunday, the first day of the week after Passover, which would also obviously coincide to the Feast of First Fruits when Yeshua was raised from the dead, or it could be interpreted as the day after Passover, the first day of Passover. And so we are to count 50 days. And so let me just stop there for a moment. And that counting of 50 days is now traditionally called the counting of the omer. So yes, omer is a measurement of grain, but now it also in Jewish tradition is considered the counting of these 50 days. And the 50 days leads up to the Feast of Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks. And then it says, until the morrow after the 7th Shabbat, you're to count 50 days and then present a new grain offering to Adonai. You're to bring out of your houses 2 loaves of bread for a wave offering made of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour. they are to be baked with chametz. Chametz is leaven. They are to be baked with leaven as first fruits of Adonai. Now, this is the only grain offering that includes leaven, which is an interesting prophetic picture, actually. And 2 loaves are to be presented as a wave offering before the Lord. Now, we'll get to Acts chapter 2, which is what we could say the birth of the new community of Messiah, the church, or the followers of Yeshua. And we could say that these 2 loaves are a prophetic picture of leaven, of Jew and Gentile together, both leaven, which is a picture of sin, right? We are full of leaven when we come to faith, full of sin. Yeshua is the cleansing of our leaven, and they're to be presented before the Lord. And this is the Feast of Shavuot, 7 weeks to count off, and then there's to be a holy gathering together as well. Traditionally, the Feast of Weeks is also, Shavuot is also, as we understand it, the time when God gave the 10 Commandments, the Torah, to the children of Israel at Mount Sinai. And so as we go through, and right now we're in the counting of the Omer, each day it is to be counted, so many weeks, so many days of the Omer. We anticipate the Feast of Weeks, the Feast of Shavuot, when God gave the Torah to Israel. And for us as followers of Yeshua, of course, we not only anticipate the giving of the Torah at Sinai, we also anticipate the giving of the Holy Spirit, which also came on the Feast of Shavuot, as we will look at in the next episode, when God chose that day, the Feast of Shavuot, Feast of Weeks, to not only celebrate as a celebration of the giving of the Torah, but also he chose that time, 50 days after Yeshua's coming, death, burial, resurrection, to pour out his Spirit upon the Jewish people and all those that were gathered at that time. Thank you for watching, and please like, comment, subscribe, and share to our Shalom Boca YouTube channel, and we'll see you next week.